There we go. All right, it's 1:10, so let's get this show on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Hosmer. I'm the immediate past district director for Founders District. And today our speaker is Ken Spears. He is a volunteer, and the best way to thank him would be to send him honest and useful feedback with this session evaluation at the conclusion of our meeting today. Our tech master will drop that into the chat at the end of the session. If you miss it, don't worry, we'll follow up with an email at the conclusion of LACE. Please remember that to receive credit for officer training, you must be here for the entire session, and you must also complete the pop quiz. If you are not speaking, please remember to keep yourself on mute so that we don't hear the dog barking behind you. We have a fun and interactive session planned today, and if you want to see the speaker and make the presentation smaller, drag the speaker window to the left. Thank you. And now let me introduce Ken. Ken is our past club growth director, and he's been many club officers and in several clubs. Ken's a very dedicated Toastmaster. He's attained multiple DTMs in both the Legacy and the Pathways program. He is former President's Distinguished Division Director for Division G and Select Distinguished Area Director and the immediate past Area Director for G1. Ken has demystified the process of completing a Pathways DTM award. He looks forward to offering advice and encouragement that will help others succeed as well. Ken, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, David. Welcome, everybody. I'm very excited to talk about being a DTM. And for those who don't know what a DTM means, Distinguished Toastmaster. It's the highest achievement that you can get in the Toastmasters universe. It's an amazing feat to accomplish, absolutely. And I first want to talk to two of you. Elaine, please unmute yourself. Are you yet a DTM, and what are you looking for today to learn?
No, I am not a DTM. I'm right now I'm an area director and a VPPE and VPPR. And
Nice.
I'm just looking to see what it takes to become a DTM.
Well, we're going to talk about all that.
So I can put it on my radar and be prepared.
Excellent. I love it. And Philippa, what about you? Where are you in the scheme of things?
Hello. Sorry, I'm not going to turn on my video, unfortunately, but I am also an area director, and I've done. I'm working on my my third path, but I haven't done DTM yet.
All right. And Tim, what about you? Where are you in the scheme of things?
2 pathways completed. I still owe DTM project, and I need to get cracking on well, actually it should be done in June, the leadership position, and I think I have to do the club culture mentor thing and the sponsor still.
Well, we're going to talk about all that, so
yeah, so that's basically where I am to answer your question.
Excellent. What I want to impart upon all of you is this, before we get into the slideshow, is that to become a distinguished Toastmaster, which is that great high achievement, only 1% of all Toastmasters achieve that. It is a very rarefied air, and I'm excited that all of you are going for it. Because when you go for your DTM, you're helping not just yourself, but you're helping other Toastmasters and the way you do it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What a great accomplishment for those who've done it. I know that we have David who's done it. John, I believe you're a DTM too, right?
Yeah.
Hardowitz?
And the traditional.
Right? Yeah, in the electric program.
I'm currently, I think I have presentation mastery finished and at least 2 other paths, somewhere around level 3 to 5.
Nice.
And I'm currently a division director, so kind of vice president of education, so I should have that part covered, but I need
The
sponsor
projects.
and mentor and
Yeah,
DTM project.
yeah, well, we'll get to all that. And I know that David's got his. I know Jean has hers. I have a couple, almost a third one. It's really a great thing and a great service to become a distinguished Toastmaster. You're helping the clubs, and that's because you're being a mentor or a sponsor, or you're doing all these other things. But let's do this. What I want to do is share my screen, if I may. Let's get to this, and let's get to this, and let's get to this. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Excellent. The Path to Distinguished Toastmaster. Today, February 2023. Welcome! Because being, like I said, a Distinguished Toastmaster is the highest achievement you can receive within the Toastmasters universe. Sure, you could be like David Hosmer, being a media past district director. But if you're a DTM, that's where the action really is. Today, we're going to talk about why you want to become a DTM, its benefits, your resources, requirements, and the striving, I think, is really the most important part. When you work to become a DTM, you're really working towards getting the essence out of Toastmasters itself. You're helping other Toastmasters achieve what they want to achieve. And that is what a real distinguished Toastmaster does. It helps elevate all other Toastmasters. That's what you're doing. You're using your experience and your mentorship of Toastmasters to help others. And that, to me, is why you want to strive to become a DTM. Some people say, don't time me, which means DTM. Don't listen to them. Just remember that being a distinguished Toastmasters means that you've really mastered the art of being a Toastmaster and you're able to help mentor and help others. That is the essence of it all. If you take nothing else out of this whole session today, take that, because that's what it is. And why you say, sure, there's prestige in being a DTM. You're part of that 1% that make it. You have your transferable skills, all the skills you learn as you go along, become a distinguished Toastmaster. You've given almost 40 to 50 speeches at this point to become a distinguished Toastmaster, maybe even more, depending on how you're doing it. If you're in the legacy program, if you did it before, or if you're in pathways, I believe it's almost 60 speeches, that depending on which path you're doing. There's a certain value. It says here intrinsic value. I don't know about the intrinsic value, but the value is the experience you get when you're speaking as a Toastmaster. That, to me, is really a great benefit. And then there's the higher learning. The higher learning is becoming more accomplished as a speaker. And that happens through two things. Number one, as you're going on your Toastmaster journey, you're speaking and doing all the different things and pathways, different levels, and getting through the two different paths that you have to do to even qualify to become a DTM. That's number one. But number two, you're also doing projects and you're being a club officer. You're also being a district officer. And those things help you become a better speaker. I did a presentation Thursday night about why being a officer, a district leader, or an officer leader makes you a better speaker. And this is exactly the reason why, because you get the opportunity to go out and visit other clubs and speak and hone your skills. And that, when you're becoming a DTM, is absolutely invaluable. Being able to talk to different groups at different times and not just your home club, that really pushes you out into the forefront of what you're trying to do. I think it's a great thing. Now, the highlight of your Toastmasters journey, probably not. I think the highlight of your Toastmasters journey is when you give a great speech and you feel a sense of accomplishment, a source of pride. They say, yeah, you're proud that you're a DTM, but you should take pride in all the things you do in Toastmasters and not just this one thing. And for me, when I think about a source of pride and the highlight of my journey is when I see other people that I've helped in Toastmasters achieve something special, that makes me really happy. And being a DTM, a Distinguished Toastmaster, that's fantastic, but that's just a product of the process. And if you work the program as it's supposed to be worked, you should easily achieve your Distinguished Toastmasters goal. And that's a sense of achievement, because then you know you've achieved it. Like getting an A in class in college. That's kind of how I equate it. For a lot of people, it's a big thing. I think it's a great thing. Don't misunderstand me. But really take pride in helping others in the Toastmasters world as you go on your journey to become a Distinguished Toastmaster. And then when you hit that mark, absolutely pat yourself on the back because you're part of that 1%. But most importantly, along the way, you've helped so many others, and that should be your real source of pride, in my opinion. And yes, self-confidence. I've often said that Toastmasters is really about speaking and gaining confidence. And that's exactly what happens. When you're becoming a Distinguished Toastmaster and you're giving all these speeches, your confidence is growing, and that confidence is translating out into the real world and all the things that you do. As a result of all these speeches, you become more, I guess, comfortable in your own skin as a speaker. You become more capable of becoming an effective communicator. And that is what the whole DTM route is about, is to help you build that extra level of confidence, not just in completing a path or completing a level in pathways, but the whole journey itself. You've gone beyond, and you become more expert, as it were, in the field of being a communicator. Skills, you practice your leadership skills as a DTM. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. More importantly, when you're going on this journey, you're learning a lot about yourself, because you, again, are giving so many speeches and are required to do things beyond just speaking. It's the leadership track and the speaking track combined to make you a Distinguished Toastmaster. A great thing. This is the slide that's the most important slide of the day, right here. What do you need to do? What are your requirements? It's all right here. You need to be a club officer for a minimum of 6 months, be it a president or vice president of education. You need to be a district officer for a year. That could be an area director, a division director. You can be the administrative assistant for the district or any other district office. Absolutely. Program quality director, district director, club growth director. Those are all things you can do as an officer. And that's where that leadership part comes into play. When you're in those officer roles, you're going to other clubs, you're talking to them, you're giving speeches, and you're accelerating your path towards becoming a Distinguished Toastmaster. And if you're on this call and you haven't done any of these things yet, please do it, and do it more than once. When you complete a path, you're halfway there. You complete the second path, you're almost there, but you still have to do this part of the program as well. And as we go along in our Toastmasters journey, we do 3 and 4 paths. If you keep on being an officer within the district in some form or fashion, you can get more than one Distinguished Toastmaster designation. And that's even rarer. A lot of people get just 1, some get 2. I have met a couple of people that have 5 Distinguished Toastmasters designations. That's an incredible feat. Absolutely. You see here it says club mentor or club coach. And remember, those are 2 different things. A club mentor is someone who helps a club who is newly formed to go on their journey to become a better club. And a club coach is someone who helps a club that's already in existence with 13 or less members to become distinguished or better. Very big distinction there. So there's those two different things, and you can do both. A club sponsor, as you may recall, is someone who helps a club form, filling out the paperwork, helping round up people to get a club to charter strength, to actually have it form as a new club. I'm working on a club sponsorship right now with international sommeliers. If you want to join and you haven't, please do it. I'm 3 shy. I need 3 people and we're there. You can also do a speech craft, which helps people become better speakers. Those are short speech, usually 8 weeks programs where it's sort of a mini Toastmasters session and helps people become acquainted with Toastmasters and become better speakers, and really focuses on speeches and evaluations. Or youth leadership programs where we teach those who are under 18 how to be better Toastmasters and indoctrinate them into the idea of Toastmasters themselves. And those are usually short programs. And then of course there's pathways. You must complete 2 paths all the way through to their completion. So you would be on your 3rd path before you could even think about becoming a Toastmaster. And then there's the DTM project, which is something you do outside of Toastmasters. For instance, if you were going to do a session like we're doing today at LACE, that could be a DTM project. Or you can do an open house for your club or something like that, where you run a committee or do an event or some special activity to help yourself or help others within the Toastmasters world. It doesn't necessarily even have to be a Toastmasters thing. You can be a member of another organization and do some sort of a outreach project and have that be part of your journey for DTM. That's absolutely doable, just as long as you have another Toastmaster there to witness it and sign off on it. That's an important part of it. Well,
David Hosmer has his hand up, I think.
yes, David. Yeah, please shout out if you have a question. Yes.
Ken,
David.
on that DTM project, who submits that and what paperwork is submitted for?
We're gonna talk. I'll get to that. We're gonna get to that in
Okay.
just a few moments. Okay. I know that's always the big bugaboo about this whole thing, but I'll explain it all. It's coming up. So here it pretty much says everything I just said recently, but you have to complete, your own project, your own thing for your DTM project. Demonstrate those skills that you've learned within Toastmasters, and most importantly, bring value to somebody, bring value to the group that you're doing it for. That is the essence of what that's all about, the DTM project. So there you go with that. Now, check your history. In Pathways and in your education program and your base camp, there is a section that says all the different things you've done. I just recently downloaded my education history. I was filling out some paperwork and I needed some information. It's all right there and it tells you everything you need to do. But when you fill out your DTM application, you need to have this information. You need to make sure you have it pretty accurately done, so that when you're vice president of education or the club that you're submitting it through has it, that your vice president of education of that club really doesn't have to struggle to feel, well, when did you do these speeches? When did you do this project? You need to keep really good records and paperwork. That's very, very important. And sometimes you don't know everything. You can always contact them, but you should pretty much have it all in your history. And if it's not there, you can get the information. The main thing is your support in history, that people in Toastmasters will look at your transcript and your profile before they grant you your DTM. So it's important to make sure everything's up to date and accurate. That is very, very important. So check it in your base camp, look at your education history, look at your officer history, all the different things that you're doing, and make sure it's done and done well so that you can have that support. Now, we talked about the club officer thing. It's 1 year as a club officer, but it doesn't have to be consecutive years. Some clubs are 6-month terms, some are 1 year. It just depends on what you do in your club. You have to attend officer training, but there are records for that. And this thing about the club succession plan, if you're an officer of a club, your club should be having a succession plan, a success plan, because that way it's your guide, your roadmap, as it were, towards becoming distinguished or better for your club. You really should do that. And if you don't have one and you haven't done it, there's still time to do it. There's still time to sit down, fill out the form, and make sure that you're hitting all the marks and getting all those distinguished club points for your club. That's part of your job as a road to DTM to make sure that happens. And all the information's right here. We have, and I'm going to put all this slide deck stuff in the chat when we're all done with this, so that everyone can have a copy of this. It's all right here. It's pretty easy. And you, as I said before, 1 year as a district officer, it's right there at the bottom. Pretty much tells you what to do. Those are the positions you can have. And I did not know this, but there is also, they used to have Pathways ambassadors. So if you were a Pathway ambassador in the beginning of Pathways, that counts as 1 year of district officer. So keep that in mind. If you were that and haven't submitted that, you can use that as helping you get your DTM as well for your district officer part of it.
But going back to that, the logistics manager does not count.
Logistics manager, I believe it does count. I believe it does. Because you're a district officer, and that's a district officer position. So yes, it should count. That is my knowledge. That's, I would double check with TI International, but I'm fairly certain 90% that would be a yes. Because if you're the administrator or the finance or the public relations, there's no difference between that and the logistics officer as well for the district. That's a district officer position, just like a club officer. So it makes sense. David, am I wrong? Am I right?
You're muted, David.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And there's a couple of positions that I've asked about, and I need to call TI and find out myself, John. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain logistics manager does qualify. I would be shocked if it did not. I'd be shocked.
If it's a listed position in the leadership manual,
It is indeed.
then I think it does apply.
Yeah. I just want to double check because I'm not always, you get things change year to year and you don't really know sometimes what happens. Toastmasters is tricky that way. They don't always tell you things that change. So you take it for what it is. We all know about paths. There are 11 of them. You have to complete 2 of them completely. These are all the different paths. Hopefully you've done it. I'm on my 10th path. I know it's crazy, but true. But please, these are all the different ones. We don't need to go over all that. I'm sure we all know those. But let's talk about the DTM project because this is where people get really hung up. In the legacy program, there used to be a thing called an HPL, High Performance Leadership Project. And in Pathways, they call it the Pathways HPL. But in a lot of paths, the level 5, there is room for doing a project like this, where you would go out and hold a club contest or do some sort of a seminar or something of that nature, which can indeed not only give you one of your level 5 path completion things and also help you prepare for a DTM project, because you cannot use your level 5 HPL as your DTM project. Your DTM project has to be separate from that. But this will give you a good idea of what you can do, and then you just amplify that. So if you want to repeat your Pathways HPL a second time, you can probably do that as an DTM project, but you can't use your Pathways 5 HPL as your DTM project. I wish you could, but unfortunately you can't. And you have to request a special form from Toastmasters International through the club growth team, or was new club, sorry, new clubs, excuse me, new clubs. They will send you a form. It's a 2-page form that you have to fill out for your DTM project of what it is, what you're doing, and all the different requirements that are involved. It's very, very much there. So when you're ready for your DTM project, you need to request the form from TI, from new clubs. Very important, and that's where you get it. It's an interesting thing. I have a copy of the form here too, a blank one. I downloaded it, but it's one of those things you have to do. So 3 of the 11 paths have a HPL project. And I know that when you do these projects, you cannot really use them for DTM, but they do prepare you for that. And here you go. So, oh, education program. I thought it was new clubs. I'm sorry. Education program. But you have to do it, and you have to look at this. You have to have 1 full path and 3 or more levels of the second one done before you can even request it, before they will even grant it to you. That shows you're getting close to the end. But it's just like doing an HPL project that you would have done before in the legacy program, but there is a form and you have to do it, and it's its own thing in pathways too. They say launch it, you have to go through it. It's just like another path in essence. And it takes a little bit of time. It's not a one and done thing, unfortunately. It takes a little bit of time, but everybody has their own different projects. I did what was one of the ones? I did a program where I had people come up and speak in a group setting where we talked about speeches and then and then I had the speakers break down what they did. And that was great for a group. We did that was for one of my DTMs. And then the second one I did was a LACE training thing a couple of years ago. I forget which one it was off the top of my head because I've done a few. But you get the idea that it's definitely something outside of your normal pathways program that you have to do. And the DTM project, you sit down, you take some time and you can get other people involved. That's a great way to really test your leadership skills and running a committee. That is an important part of it. And I think that that's what they're really looking for in the DTM project, is that committee leadership, the idea that you're out there doing it. You can't do it all on your own anyway. And if you try to do it on your own, it's going to be very, 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 very difficult, because even if you're trying to do it on your own, you still have to have a number of people evaluate your DTM project. That's part of it. And then those people have to submit their little forms as well for you to get your DTM. And when you read the whole project, you'll understand how that works. It's just a 1-page evaluation, but it has to be done and written and submitted. But please, don't let this discourage you. Go for it. Whoops. One of the ways to do it, as we said before, a club coach exists. You're becoming an existing club coach. You support an existing club. You want them to become distinguished or better because the club is having issues of some sort, either with membership, which is really always not the number one issue, or it could be some other internal issue that is going on. So this is a great thing. And remember, a mentor is someone who helps a new club as they're forming become a great club as they're starting their journey. So there's 2 different things here. And you can do both of these things to help you get that one area of doing it. Pretty straightforward. And here we go. Sponsor, speechcraft, youth leadership. I don't want to go over all, you can read what it says here. But most importantly, the idea here is that you're going out and you're helping others and being a mentor. And as I said before, being a distinguished Toastmaster is really about showing your leadership skills and your mentorship skills and helping others achieve something they have not achieved. And that's really the essence of being a distinguished Toastmaster. Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Just shout out if you do. If you don't, you don't. Yeah.
So a good way to think about those two requirements is that there's sort of a long-term one and a short-term one. The club sponsor, speechcraft, and youth leadership are potentially only 2 months.
Well, club sponsorship could be very long. It depends on how long
Could
it
be.
takes to get a club together. Like for instance, International Sommeliers have been working on this for a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other two, speechcraft and youth leadership, are short. But when you're a mentor, it's a minimum club mentor, you're a minimum of 6 months. And if you're a club sponsor, it could be a minimum of 6 months. So it just depends. So the time is there, you know. And of course, as a district leader, it's usually 1 year. But you can do a lot of these things concurrently. You can do it all in 1 year.
Oh, I heard that they don't recognize miracles as a club coach. You have to have been you have to have been appointed before January 1st in order to qualify on June 30th.
Yes, well, that's exactly it. Okay, let's talk about a club coach for a second. You're absolutely correct. You have to be appointed before the 1st of January, and you have 6 month minimum to get it done, but you have up to 2 years to get it done. And if after 2 years you're a club coach and you haven't gotten it done, you get unassigned, as it were, from that club, and somebody else takes over and you've lost that opportunity and you have to start over. So that's part of it. But yes, you're a club coach, it takes time. But you can indeed become a club coach in January. And when renewals come in March, April, and the club has hit their required number of distinguished club points and membership by April, they can be distinguished and it's over for you and you've done it. And you just coast to June, May and June. It could be as little as 4 months, but it could be as much as 2 years. So it really depends on where you are with the club and how it's going. And the club itself has to really want to achieve to become distinguished. You yourself as a coach cannot make a club become distinguished or better. The club has to want that. They have to work towards it. You help guide them, but the club themselves, have to want it. And you can't force it. So that's just something to think about as a club coach. I believe club coach is the hardest part of the whole thing.
I was a club coach once and did not become that club did not become distinguished. But I'm
in the same boat with a club right now. And it's really pulling my hair out. They don't want it, they really don't want to go for it. I've given them many opportunities and ideas and things to do, and they just won't take it. And it's just very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. But you can only do what you can do. So clubs have to want it. And you can't force a club to do anything they don't want to do. You can't, unless you take over the club, and then if you impart your will upon a club in that manner, the club will most likely break apart and die. And you don't want to do that either. So that's something to consider. Don't impose your will upon the club, unless they specifically say to you, "Oh, John, please take over the club. We need you." Then, maybe then you can do it. Well, let's talk about this application form for DTM for a moment. Look at all this information you have to fill out. Check this out. This is an old one from Kathy Hughes that she let me borrow. but look at this. Education at toastmasters.org, her name, online paths, whatever they're doing, all these different things, club officer role, mentor, leadership role, all these things you have to do to become a DTM. This is the basic form for being a DTM. And you have to request this form along with the form for your project. And you can't even request this until you're at least completed one path plus level 3 of the second path to even get this form. But here it is. This is big. It looks easy. You fill all this stuff out, but then look, you were a club sponsor, speech crafter leadership program. When did you do it? Or your club officer verification, your mentor, your district leader, all these different things. Your district, your project completed on this date for your Distinguished Toastmaster project. All these different things. It's a lot of information, all distilled down into 2 pages. But you have to have the backing information, because they may say to you, "Can you send over the forms for your project? Can you send over your forms for this?" Or you have to have all the things backed up. So you can't lie on this form, because they can go in and look online and make sure you're not lying. So please be honest and fill out the form. And once you fill it out the form via your club, and your club of course gets a distinguished club point, whichever club you decide to use it for. If you're a member of multiple clubs, they'll love you for it, because again, you're one of that special 1%. Not too tough, but not easy, because it takes time. Now, there's a lot of different resources and links that will tell you all about it. It's all right here. Using all these resources. I think that there's many, many resources that are out there. And my question now is, what questions do we have? And I'm sure there's a few. Anyone? Questions?
You actually answered my question, Ken. Thank you.
Well, I try. Let's stop screen sharing for a minute here. Philippa, what do you think? Do you think you're going to make it? Unmute yourself. You can all unmute yourselves. Elaine, are you going to make it? Are you going to become a DTM
Eventually,
eventually? So what do you think? Do you think it's going to be hard for you to do this?
yes. The project part's going to be the tough part.
What's going to be hard for you?
Figuring out a project and then implementing it. I'm a total introvert, so this is totally stretches me from
Well,
getting out of my comfort zone.
Let me ask you a question. You've been a Toastmaster in your club, correct?
Yes, I've
Like
been a
for the week?
Toastmaster for a couple of years.
Well, no, I don't mean like, I'm talking about just as a club for the week. You've been a Toastmaster for, right?
Right.
Here's my suggestion. Why don't you get a group of 2 or 3 people together, be the Toastmaster, and let them speak and have them do a special topic, and then make that a special project where you're talking about something specific, whatever that might be. Maybe your hobbies are horseback riding, and you have 3 club members who are horse people. They can talk about being talk about horses and what they can do and all the different things that go on. And as a result, and then you have evaluations, and you comment between all of that, and you help bring something together, and you advertise it to the local community in some manner. Maybe you get some of the visitors to come, and it helps build up your club leadership and your club membership all at the same time. I mean, I'm not saying horses specifically, but you get the idea that maybe that's something you can do. What do you think?
Yeah, that's something I can definitely work on.
If you're introverted, that way you don't have to do that much talking, but you plan it. You have people working with you as evaluators, etc., and you're running the show.
That I think I can do.
that could be your project.
I've done plenty
I
of
mean,
projects, but
What?
I've done plenty of projects, but it's the club sponsor that's going to be the tough one.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, starting a new club is not easy in this environment right now.
Right.
Absolutely, that is the hardest part. And that's why I say if you don't want to be a sponsor, be a mentor and a coach for a new club. If you can get on as a mentor for a club that's already forming and become a coach for a club that's already existing and or your speechcraft or youth leadership, you're there. The sponsor is going to be the hardest one in that sense, because right now in this environment, like you said, starting a new club is really, really difficult.
Right.
And not easy because of all the things that went on with the pandemic, and we're still not bounced back. Are we a hybrid club? Are we meeting in person? Are we strictly online? All these things. Those are all different issues. So I wanted to talk to Felipa. Do you think you're going to make it? Is Felipa even with us still? I don't know.
She's not on screen. I think that's the, I don't think that's a, I think that's a virtual background, but she's probably not in her chair.
What about Tim? Tim, you going to make it?
Well, you saw me in action as far as the club mentor and the sponsor, so I think that's good. The 2 pathways are done. I'm on my 3rd right now, and then the district officer, that's going to be done before June. So I'm on my path I just need to get the DTM project going and complete that, and I think I'll be in good shape. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
sometime this summer, we'll see.
Yeah, you can't really plan it until it happens. That's for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I thought I'd be done with this 3rd one by now, and it's taken forever. So it is what it is. I love what John put in the chat. Does everybody see that, what he put in the chat? It's all about the requirements about the project, that you have to do the speech before and after and the planning and all the other things. It takes time. It definitely takes time. So John, what's your project going to be? Hardowitz?
So,
Or is this your project?
today, no. I don't know. I probably, I work with a couple of non-Toastmasters groups that I could probably write up a project on.
Okay. But yeah, just as long as you have a Toastmaster there to help you witness it all, I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So does everybody understand the road to becoming a DTM?
Ken, we're at 12, we're at 1:55, so maybe John wants to put up the evaluation form.
Well, yeah, I just want to make sure everybody has no more questions. It's all pretty clear cut. All right, I'm going to try while you do the evaluation form to put the, where is it? Oh, here we go. I'm going to try and put the slide deck into the chat so you all have that. So give me a moment to find it. Well, John, while I do that, John, why don't you do the other part?
I'm working on it. Here we go. That's the signal.
Ah. Okay.
And also, oh, let's see. Elaine, I can help you with your video going wild too.
It's extremely annoying.
Yeah, it happens.
Actually, it's a known Zoom problem, which they will fix eventually.
So, Gene, what did you think of the whole thing?
You're muted.
Gene Tankery.
I'm unmuted now. I will get there eventually. The things that scare me the most are the projects and the HPLs and those things that are going to be required. But I'll get through them.
You'll make
I
it.
got through one DTM.
That's
so
right.
It can be done.
It can be done. And like I said, I just put in the chat for everybody. You should be able to see the slide deck that I was using, which will have all the resources and information. Should all be in the chat, and you can be able to download that.
I don't see it.
When I click on it, it takes me to the evaluation.
Yeah.
The path to DTM, the slide deck says everyone.
I think you have to, there's a new thing where there's like instead of hitting return, there's like a little blue arrow in the lower right-hand corner.
Oh, okay, I got it. There we go.
It looks like one of those send arrows.
No, I forgot to click the arrow.
There it is.
Sorry about that.
That looks like a download now.
There you go. There you go. I didn't click the arrow.
It's new. I've never seen it before. They also moved the all the stuff like save the chat down to the bottom.
I know, which I don't like it. I like it on the side better.
I agree. I keep looking for it over there and it's not there.
I was like, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
I thought it was disabled. You can't save the chat. That is a choice, but that wasn't what the problem was.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, the whole thing is there, the slide deck with all the resources, everything right there. So please download it, take it, and see what you think. So John, what do you think? Are we there?
I think
Lots
we have to close the meeting in about a minute.
Ken,
Right, so-
thanks a lot for this afternoon. It's been
Yes.
really
You're
helpful.
welcome.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much for all the information.
Happy to
Very
help.
helpful information.
Happy to help. Please reach out if you have any questions. I am around. KenSpears1960 @gmail.com. And or through Toastmasters, you can find me.
Yep.
I'm there.
All right, bye, guys. See
All right.
you later.
Bye, everybody. Have
Bye,
a great time.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Good luck.
Please-
Become a
Please
DTM.
complete the survey.
What? I didn't
Please
see.
complete the survey.
I didn't even see the survey.
On my way.
It's above your file. It's like a big URL. It's like.
Oh, there it is. I see. All right, here we go.
I did mine.
Also,
Great job. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah. Oh, I can't comment on myself. That's ridiculous.
Why not?
I'm not gonna-
How was the session? Comment on. all
Oh,
the-
come on. I can't do that. You know that. Enough of that. All right. Thanks,
Jeff.
John.
Well,
Thank you so much. Have a good week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.